and governor's races on the C-SPAN networks, cspan.org, and listen on the C-SPAN radio app. C-SPAN, where history unfolds daily.
Just a short time ago, Donald Trump finished speaking to supporters at a rally in Las Vegas. That's one of 3 events the Trump campaign has planned today. This is 45 Minutes.
And defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. This is their record crowd. I want to thank the great owner of this hotel and his incredible wife. She's an incredible woman, Sheldon Adelson. And really incredible people, and they've been so supportive, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it very much. And Phil Ruffin, one of our great supporters, is here tonight. Phil, we love Phil. And we're doing great in the polls. We're winning many national polls, and we're ahead in many states, including your great state, and North Carolina, and Ohio, and Florida, and Iowa, and so many others. And just so you know, these polls came out yesterday and today. This was before the blow-up on Friday. These polls are from before the blow-up. So we'll see. We're on the cusp of a really incredible, historic change that transfers power from a failed political establishment and returns that power to our families, communities, and citizens. In 9 days, we are going to win the state of Nevada. Nevada. The state of Nevada, right? You know, I don't know if you know, but everybody in New York says it the other way. And I did that once, and I never will do it again, believe me. But we're going to win the state of Nevada, and we're going to win back the White House. Early voting is underway, so make sure you get to the polls. Who's voted? That's like 50%. If anybody wants to leave right now, go ahead. I won't be insulted. There's plenty of people outside that want to take your place, okay? Now, make sure you vote, because otherwise this incredible movement that we've created together, we won't get there, and that will be very, very bad for all of us. It will be very bad for the country. A Trump administration will immediately repeal and replace Obamacare. It's just been announced that the citizens of Nevada are going to experience a massive, in fact, I don't even want to tell you what the number is. I won't, because you'll walk out of here depressed. Double-digit hike in their Obamacare premiums for the year. 10 of Nevada's 16 counties will have only Obamacare, and think of it, you're going to have one exchange insured to choose from. They are in a very good position to negotiate with you, aren't they? Not with Trump. We're going to get rid of it, and we're going to have health care that is so good and so much less expensive. Because Obamacare, forgetting about the cost, which is ridiculous, it's no good, it doesn't work, and your deductibles are so high you're never going to be able to use it. So Obamacare is a catastrophe for your state. In Minnesota, where the premium increase will be close to 60%, the Democratic governor has just said the Affordable Care Act is no longer affordable. Hillary Clinton wants to double down on Obamacare, making it even more expensive. In fact, much more expensive. My contract with the American voter outlines a plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. And I'm asking for your vote so we can save health care for every family in your state and in this country. Real change also means getting rid of the corruption in Washington. You've been seeing a little corruption, right? You've been seeing. System is rigged. It's rigged. Little corruption you've been watching. As you've heard, it was just announced on Friday that the FBI is reopening their investigation into the criminal and illegal conduct of Hillary Clinton. Hillary has nobody but herself to blame for her mounting legal problems. Her criminal action was willful, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. Hillary set up an illegal server for the obvious purpose of shielding her criminal conduct from public disclosure and exposure. She set up this illegal server knowing full well that her actions put our national security at risk and put the safety and security of your children at risk. To cover up her crimes, she bleached and deleted 33,000 emails after receiving a congressional subpoena. After. She gets a subpoena and she deletes and bleaches, and nobody even ever heard of bleaching. Did anybody ever hear of bleaching? You know why? It's such an expensive process. But it makes them go away. But I have a feeling they've just found a lot of them, don't you think? Have a feeling. Uma. They just found a lot of them. We never thought we were going to say thank you to Anthony Weiner. Right? She made 13 phones disappear, some with a hammer. She lied to Congress under oath. She lied to the FBI many times. And then 2 boxes of email evidence just recently went mysteriously missing. Then you have the WikiLeaks revelations, which have exposed criminal corruption at the highest levels of our government. Hillary put the office of Secretary of State up for sale, and if she ever did get the chance, which we're not going to let her have, she'd put the Oval Office up for sale also. You have no doubt about that. Yet now it's reported that the Department of Justice is fighting the FBI. That's because the Department of Justice is trying so hard to protect Hillary Clinton. They didn't try to protect our generals. They didn't try to protect a lot of other people. How can the Attorney General be involved in this case or tell the FBI what to do when the Attorney General violated sanctity of law by secretly meeting with Bill Clinton, the husband of the possible target of the investigation and a possible target himself, in an airplane on the tarmac in Arizona? Remember, he was going to play golf, remember? But he just happened to be at the airport hanging around, and the Attorney General's plane drove by, right? And he said, oh, isn't that her? Oh, yes. Oh, gee, let's say hello. Let's say hello. It was a chance meeting, they said, right? Well, the meeting lasted 39 minutes, and they supposedly talked about golf and grandchildren. So I give 2 minutes to golf, I give 5 minutes to grandchildren. But what they probably really talked about was the Attorney General's reappointment should Hillary Clinton become president, which I don't think is going to happen. Because of this highly inappropriate meeting at best, the Attorney General took herself essentially out of the case and put Director Comey in charge of making decisions. You saw that. Decision-making process. So why is she now allowed to fight so hard to get someone who is so obviously guilty on so many different fronts off the hook? In fact, it was publicly reported that sources close to Hillary Clinton said, and she actually, I think, said it to the papers, that she was thinking of reappointing Attorney General Lynch. She was thinking, she said it. I mean, it was a statement she made. And effectively, I guess you'd call that a bribe, wouldn't you? Wouldn't that call it a bribe? How can she say they're going to make a decision on her and you're talking about you're going to reappoint? She said it publicly, I believe. When I heard it, I found it a little bit hard to believe that she'd say that. This is what we mean when we say the system is rigged. It's rigged. What makes us exceptional is that we are a nation of laws and that we are all equal under those laws. Hillary's corruption shreds the principles on which our nation was founded. When the powerful can get away with anything because they have the money and the connections to rig the system, then the people lose hope and confidence in the future of their country. Corruption is corrosive to the soul of a democracy, and it must be stopped, and we're going to stop it. Because we have one ultimate check on Hillary's corruption, and that is the power of the vote. The power of the vote. The only way to beat the corruption is to show up and vote by the tens of millions, including millions of people voting for the first time in their lives. There was a great guy on television today. I have to tell you about it. His name was Sid Miller from Texas. Oh, they know Sid Miller. We create yet another star. But he was on this morning. He was on Fox. And a lot of you saw him. And he said, you know, these New Yorkers have it all wrong. You guys have it all wrong. He's from Texas, wearing a big white hat. Smart guy. He said, you know, in Texas, I kept reading where we're even. And I said, wow, I don't think so, because I see the enthusiasm. But the voting started. He said, I got to tell you, we have more people voting now than we've ever had, ever, in an election. They're all coming from all over. They're people we've never seen before, they've never voted before, or they haven't voted for 20 years. And they're all voting for Trump. And when they say, and he said, and when I listen to these guys talking, and I know every one of them, because these are the most honest, I tell you what, these are the most dishonest human beings right back there. For instance, when we tell them to turn the cameras to show this incredible record crowd, record for this ballroom. This is the record for this ballroom. Sheldon told me that himself. Record. They don't show it. You're wasting your time. They don't show it because they're dishonest, because they don't want to show the crowds that we get. The biggest ever in the history of this country. There's never been a movement like this. And they don't want to show it. And we're going to go into it in a couple of seconds, but they are very dishonest. The media is very, very dishonest. Show the crowd. Why don't you show the crowd? Turn the cameras. They'll get up, a couple of them get up, they say, Donald Trump spoke today before a small crowd. It's disgusting. The other day, a man got up. We had 17,000 people. He said, Donald Trump spoke in front of a few thousand people. Well, few to me means 3. I don't know. That's the way I grew up. When I hear a few thousand people, that sort of means to me like 3. Anyway, very, very dishonest people. But Sid Miller said, we've never had anything like this. It's 50% higher than it has ever been before in Texas. And he said, we're going to win. And he wasn't from me. He said, Trump is going to win by massive numbers, bigger than anyone's ever seen. And he said, so I don't know what you people are talking about on television where they're saying the vote in Texas is going to be very close. He said, I don't know what you people are talking about. You must be talking about a different Texas than the one I'm from. So we love the people in Texas, and I know what's going. And you know what else? The same thing is happening in Florida. The same thing's happening in North Carolina. It's happening all over. Because people are sick and tired of stupidity and deals. And look at Iran. Look at the Iran deal. They're sick and tired of the Iran deal. They don't want to be giving Iran $1.7 billion in cash. Be from here up to the ceiling. They don't want to. Remember 3 weeks ago, they had 800 people that they were getting ready to deport, right? You saw this, right? They had them bad. They were tough. Anybody that gets deported from this country, believe me, they have to be tough. So they have 800. Little mistake. Instead of deporting them, they all became United States citizens. And I'll tell you, that's not the worst of it. The worst of it wasn't 800 people, it was 1,800 people, okay? So congratulations, you have some wonderful new citizens of this country. And then when I said, that's okay, fix the problem, that's okay, fix it. They said, that wouldn't be constitutional. Give me a break. All right. So we're stuck. $1.7 billion in cash to Iran. Can you believe? Can you imagine their eyes when they saw that money being brought in by truck? Can you imagine? Did you ever see what $1 million looks like in cash? That's a lot of money. $1.7 billion in cash. And then what do? They grab our sailors, our 10 sailors, destroy their lives, humiliate those people. Instead of saying, hey, listen, you're in our waters, you got to get over a little bit. They humiliate the sailors. They humiliate our country. And they would have kept them, except their $150 billion payment started the next day. Okay? Stupid they're not. And people are tired of it. We're tired. We're sick and tired of it. And don't forget, I was on the other side for a long time, folks. I understand that side very well. And it's a good life. But I love this country. I love the people of this country. And we're going to change it. We're going to change. We're going to do it right. So, go out and vote with all your heart and soul, and we're going to make America great again. That I can tell you, okay? Restoring honesty to our government and the rule of law to our society will be one of my truly highest priorities. Now, we have a lot. We have to rebuild our military. We have to create borders. We have to do so much. But that's going to be right up there. My contract with the American voter begins with a plan to end government corruption. I want the entire corrupt Washington establishment to hear and heed the words that we all, not me, we have to say. When we win on November 8th, we are going to Washington, D.C., and we are going to drain the swamp. True. You know, I told people the other day, drain the swamp. I said, I don't really like that expression. This was 2 weeks ago. I said, I don't love that expression. It's so hokey. I thought it was hokey. I said, you know, and all of a sudden I said, oh, I hate to use this. It's sort of like it doesn't work right. And I said it 2 weeks ago to a big crowd. And I said it, and the place went crazy. Then I said it a second time, and the place went even crazier. And then the third time, like you, they started saying it before I said it. And all of a sudden I decided I love that expression. It's a great expression. Crazy, right? Drain the swamp. Thank you. You know, a man who loved Las Vegas was Frank Sinatra. And he had his, we like Frank Sinatra, right? Frank Sinatra, he was great. And when he originally heard and sang for the first time, My Way. How do we like My Way, yes? But he didn't like it. But then he sang it a couple of times, and then it went to #1, and all of a sudden he loved it, okay? So he loved it. That's the way it works. You never know. At the core of my contract is my plan to bring back our jobs. Right? Right now, 70 million American women and children live in poverty or near the brink of poverty. 43% of African American school-aged children are living in poverty. 34% of Hispanic school-aged children live in poverty. This is unacceptable in our country. It's unacceptable in America. As your president, I will go into the poorest communities and work on a national plan for revitalization. We will break decades of failure and prove that real change is possible if we simply cut our ties with the failed politicians and politics of the past. America has lost 1/3 of its manufacturing jobs since Bill Clinton signed NAFTA. And Hillary loved it. America, and this is something that every time I say it, I always, because it sounds so crazy, I thought it was a typo. I thought it was 700 factories, or 7,000 maybe. America has lost 70,000 factories since China entered the World Trade Organization. Another Bill and Hillary-backed deal. We're living through the greatest jobs theft in the history of our world. What's happened to our jobs? It's the greatest jobs theft, all because our politicians are either incompetent or they've gotten so much campaign contributions or other things. And the special interests, special interests like what's happening. But we're getting wiped out. You go to Michigan, you go to New England, you look at areas around here, you look at what's happened. It's a 1-lane highway into Mexico, no way out. They get the jobs, they get the money, they get the plants. I tell the story of my friend, he builds plants. He's the biggest in the world. He builds plants. That's what he does. That's what he wants to do. That's all he wants to do. If you said build an apartment, he wouldn't know how to go about it, okay? All he does, he builds the biggest in the world. I said, how is business? He said, unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Where? In the United States? No, not at all. In Mexico. It's the 7th wonder of the world. So we've got to change things, folks. A Trump administration will stop the horrible, horrible, horrible Trans-Pacific Partnership. We will renegotiate NAFTA, and we are going to stand up to China's currency manipulation. I have great relationships with China, but their currency manipulation, what they do to our country is unbelievable. We have a trade balance. Think of this. We have a deficit, trade deficit with China, almost $500 billion a year. We owe China $1.5 trillion. That's a good act. They come in, they take our jobs, they make our product, they make a fortune, and we owe them $1.5 trillion. It's a good act. But we'll get it solved. I have great relations with China. I've made a lot of money with China. The biggest bank in the world is a tenant of mine in Manhattan. It's from China. Biggest bank in the world by far, not even close. The condos, I own the Bank of America building with a great partner in San Francisco. Got it through China, through a certain very complicated route. We're going to lower taxes on American business from 35% to 15%. We're going to cut taxes for middle-class family by hundreds of billions of dollars a year. And my infrastructure plan will provide help for projects like the proposed Interstate 11 here in your state. We will become a rich nation again. We will become a rich country. And we have to be a rich country in order to do what we have to do. A woman came up to me recently and she said, Mr. Trump, it sounds so crass when you say we're going to become a rich nation. I said, but we have no choice. We need our Social Security. We need our Medicare. We have to rebuild our military. We need all of this stuff. We need all of this stuff. Yeah, make sure that she's okay. Some of these people have been here for 8 hours. That's okay. You take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Maybe we can open that gate up. Okay. If we have to, we should. Yay! Look at her. Are you okay? She's tougher than all of us, folks. She's been here for 8 hours. If you need, you'll come right through here. Right. We have strong people. Hey, did you see where the Democratic National Committee, did you see this? They were paying, you know the rallies where we used to have these fights? And I didn't understand it. I said, who's fighting? We're like, there's so much love in these rooms. By the way, there's no better place to be than a Trump rally, right? So I said, what's going on? And we had one in Chicago where the police, and we love our police, by the way, where the police, a couple of them had gashes in their heads. I said, what's going on? This doesn't make sense. So it came out through WikiLeaks that we had thugs who should be put in jail, by the way. They attacked policemen in addition to our people. But they were paying thugs. Hillary Clinton was paying thugs $1,500 each, plus an iPhone. And they were paying these thugs to go in and disturb our rallies and get into fights. And that was on a tape made by a very talented young man, I will tell you that. Very talented guy. And they got him on a tape bragging about how they did it. And everybody blamed me, right? And they blamed us, that the rallies are violent. Let me tell you, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. It is such a disgrace. And lots of other things happen where they take care of people and then bad things, but we don't fall for it. To be a rich country, we must also be a safe country. We'll support local police and federal law enforcement in an effort to aggressively reduce surging crime. So far this year in Las Vegas, homicides have increased 27% over last year. And by the way, people don't know this because this dishonest media will never say it. Murder rates are up right now. Murder is up 45. Think of it. Think of it. You know what it is? In 45 years, in 45 years, right now, the rates are the highest they've been, murder rates, highest they've been in 45 years. And they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. You know what you do? Let her out right here. Open the gate, let her out right here. It's so much easier. Fellas, open the gate, use your heads, let her out right here. Thank you, darling. Thank you, honey. If you feel better, come back. Will we take her back? Yes. We love her. Thank you. Latinos for Trump. I love that. Give me that sign. I love this stuff. Huh. Oh, very good. Where are you from? And where? What country in Latin?
But my mother's from Mexico. And she came here legally, Mr. Trump.
From Mexico. Just say hello real quick.
Yes, I'm a Latina for Trump. And I'm very proud to vote for Mr. Trump because he's for law and order. And he wants things to be right. You have to come into this country legally. You can't just come in here, pouring in here. And you can't just come in here and having illegal people costs $113 billion a year to support them. With that money, it should be for Americans, for veterans. Mr. Trump, I learned this from you. Okay, bye-bye.
So nice.
Okay, bye-bye.
She's better than me. I never did it that well. Boy. That's so great. We are going to do so well with the Latinos, but we are going to do so well because we want security, we want safety, we don't want people. You have so many people, they're living here legally, they have a job, they don't want their jobs taken away. I mean, look, but I appreciate that. That was really nice. We will also keep our nation safe. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to keep our nation safe from a thing called terrorism. Hillary Clinton wants to increase Syrian refugees pouring into our country by 550%. That's over Obama's numbers. That's over the thousands and thousands that are already coming in through Obama. When I'm elected president, we will suspend the Syrian refugee program. Have no choice. And we will keep radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country, believe me. But we're also going to work to build safe havens over there, and we're going to get the Gulf states to pay for it. We don't have to pay for it. They have plenty of money. We're going to get the Gulf states to pay for it, and they will pay for it. And we have to help the people, but we just can't do this anymore, folks. We have problems. We don't need to be the great Trojan horse. Modern day version, great Trojan horse, not going to be us. A Trump administration will also secure and defend the borders of the United States. And yes, we will build a wall. Sheldon, you have a great, great hotel, but I tell you, we could have made this ballroom a little bit larger, maybe. Could have made it larger. This is some great space. And we also have, by the way, the legendary Phil Ruffin of Las Vegas. Where is Phil? Where is he? Get him over here, Keith. He employs thousands of people, and he's a great guy. Hillary has pledged open borders and supports sanctuary cities. Countless Americans are killed by illegal immigrants because our government refuses to do its job. Right here in your state, 20-year-old Brian Corsi was shot and paralyzed by an illegal immigrant. He fought for his life in the hospital for 17 days. Ultimately, he died. Brian was a basketball star, loved by everybody, with dreams of becoming a firefighter right here. On Mother's Day in 2009, Carson City, born, beautiful, beautiful person, just an incredible person. Renee Angulo was out driving, looking for a job, when he was shot in the head and murdered by a previously deported illegal immigrant gang member. Everybody said, we must get him out of our country. We must incarcerate him. We must do something. This guy was brutal. Renee was pulled from his vehicle and left to die on the side of a road. A good Samaritan who thought there had been a car accident stopped to help, and he was also shot. The illegal immigrant killer had a previous conviction as an accessory to murder in Carson City. And he had a record as long as your arm. But the Obama administration didn't want to put him out. Josh Wilkerson, whose mother I've gotten to know during this campaign, was murdered at the age of 17. Josh, a student in a high school and a good student, was tortured, strangled, and beaten to death by an illegal immigrant, and then his body was set on fire. And there are so many of these stories. When I become president, this crime wave will end, and it will end very, very quickly. We will end illegal immigration. We will deport all criminal illegal immigrants. You have a lot of people that are walking around. And the great thing, our local police, they know who they are. They know them better than they know their own family. And we will get them out. Now, when Hillary brought them out, they'd bring them back to their country, and the country very intelligently wouldn't take them, right? And so would bring them back, would release them into our society. She would always let them come back. She didn't want to make waves. That will never, ever happen once, not once, with me. We will also, it's so important, and by the way, the Border Patrol agents of this country and ICE, both of them, they've never endorsed a candidate for president before. Both groups, every one of them, both groups endorsed Donald Trump. So that means so. We will also repeal the Obama-Clinton defense sequester and rebuild our badly depleted military. We have the greatest people in the world, but we need help. We have the endorsements of over 200 admirals and generals and 22 Medal of Honor recipients. And I want to thank General Flynn for being here. Great guy. Great man. Our Air Force is the smallest and oldest in its history. And my plan calls for building new fighter jets. Oh, you know what this is? Nellis Air Force Base. You can have nice new planes. Nellis Air Force Base. Did you ever see where our fighter jets are so old that we can't get parts anymore for them? These are planes in service. They're so old, we can't get parts. That's going to change. The enemy has better planes than us, and they buy them from us, or they take them. We also need a new foreign policy that puts America first again. America first. Hillary and our failed Washington establishment have spent $6 trillion on wars in the Middle East, and now it's in worse shape. I mean, think of it. All of that money, all of those lives, and it's in far worse shape than it ever has been by a factor of 10. They've dragged us into foreign wars. They've made us less safe. And these are wars that they never win. We don't win. We don't win at anything. We don't win at trade. We don't win at wars. They've left our borders wide open at home, and they've shipped our jobs and wealth to other countries. To all Americans, I say it is now time for real leadership. We're going to have real leadership. So sad. So sad. Thank you. Thank you. In closing, just think about what we can accomplish in the first 100 days of a Trump administration. We're going to have the biggest tax cut since Ronald Reagan. We will eliminate every unnecessary job-killing regulation. We will cancel every illegal Obama executive order. And by the way, Hillary Clinton, just in case you don't know it, you do know, she wants to raise your taxes substantially. We're lowering your taxes. She wants to raise your taxes substantially. We're going to rebuild our military and take care of our great veterans. Our veterans are going to be taken proper care of for once and for all. We'll reduce surging crime and support the incredible men and women of law enforcement. We're going to provide school choice, very important, and put an end to Common Core so we can bring our education local. We will save the Second Amendment, which is under siege. The NRA endorsed Trump. The NRA endorses. And we will appoint justices to the United States Supreme Court who will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. Americans are tired of being told by politicians that they have to defer their dreams to another day. But they really mean defer their dreams to another decade. You know that, and I know that, and they know that. Hillary has been there for 30 years, and she's accomplished nothing. She's just made things worse. She's a candidate of yesterday, and we are the movement of the future. And speaking of the future, here's Mr. Phil, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Phil Ruffin, one of the great people of Las Vegas, I will tell you. One of the great, great people. How many people do you employ in Las Vegas? He employs 4,000 people. That's pretty good, right? I'm a little disappointed. I thought it was more. Our movement represents all Americans from all backgrounds and from all walks of life. We are asking for the votes of Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and first-time voters. There's going to be a lot of them. There's going to be a lot of them. We are fighting for every citizen who believes that government should serve the people, not the donors and the special interests. We're fighting to unlock the potential of every American community and every American family who hope and pray and yearn for a better future for their children. Washington, D.C. wants to think small, but I am asking you to dream big again. Dream big again. With your vote, we are just 9 days from the change you've been waiting for your entire life. Think of it. Think of it. 9 days. And you're going to remember this day, and you're going to remember when you cast your vote. And you're going to say that this was a very important day. But you're going to say that the vote you cast was the most important vote that you've ever cast, because our country will start winning again. We're going to start winning again. And you're going to be proud of your country again. And hopefully you'll be proud of your president. But you're going to be proud of your country again. Together, we will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much, everybody. Get out and vote. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
A glass of wine in her hand. I knew she was gonna meet her connection. At her feet was